Alright, in today's lesson, we're going to talk about the sales order cycle. What is a sales order cycle? Every business will have a cycle. Let me give you some examples. For example, the finance business or the finance department is responsible for looking at what the customer needs to pay, it's called AR, and receiving the cash or receiving payments. That's their business. So they call it a report to record. Somebody in the procurement department which is responsible for interacting with the vendors, getting the goods on time, so on, is responsible for placing the purchase order with the vendor. Example, if Walmart's procurement department were to be taken as an example, they are responsible for dealing with the vendors that supply the goods. Like if milk needs to be put in the freezer of Walmart, the procurement department will talk to all the different milk vendors. They'll raise purchase orders. They'll get the goods into the stock and they'll pay the invoices, meaning pay the money to their vendors. This cycle is called procure to pay. Procure to pay or P2P. So similarly, there are different business cycles followed by the different departments. Now, what about the sales department? The sales department also follows a cycle. It's called the sales order cycle. There are some variations to it, slight minor variations. I'm going to talk about those variations when we come to the respective parts. So we understand what is sales order cycle. Now let's see the cycle itself. What does the sales order cycle comprise of? The sales order cycle is best understood with an example. We'll take two companies. One company, say a computer manufacturing company, say HP or Dell or whatever. And this is the company which is selling. So we are looking at things from a HP's perspective. Who is buying? Anybody could be buying from Dell. You or I could be buying from Dell or HP. But we don't want to really take individual scenarios like B2C, business to consumer. Rather, we would want to talk about a B2B scenario, a business to business scenario, because SAP is actually built for more B2B scenarios. Let's take the scenario of HP selling computers to a customer, say Walmart. So Walmart is our customer. And the company is HP selling computers to Walmart. So how does a typical cycle start? So Walmart is looking for computers. So Walmart is inquiring about the different rates of HP, Dell, Gateway, and all the different computer manufacturers. Now, since we are looking at it from HP's perspective, Walmart is going to send what is called as an RFI or request for information or inquiry. RFI. What is an RFI? An RFI is quite simply a request for a whole bunch of products and what are the prices and when we can deliver them by. So now from HP's perspective, as soon as they receive this request from Walmart, they're going to say, okay, who is the customer? Customer is Walmart. What is the date that we have received this? Okay, Jan 1st, 2014, and some other details, and then we'll start with the products. What is it that Walmart is looking for? They'll specify that in the request. They'll say, I want a particular model of desktop model 1, and how many quantity? Say 1000, right? They want it for a bunch of stores, and maybe some laptops, a particular model, maybe 2000 of them, and so on. So this information is captured in a document from HP's perspective, and this document is just a fancy word. You don't need to use that or think in terms of a document. It's just a collection of some data. So SAP typically calls it a document. So this document is called an inquiry, which is a document created in SAP by HP based on the customer's RFI. So customer has asked for desktops, laptops, a certain quantity and their prices, and HP has created a record in the system and says, okay, you have asked for this, this and this, and the prices are going to be $500 per piece or $800 per piece, or whatever HP decides the rate to be. And as soon as this inquiry is saved in the system, don't worry about actually creating them in the system yet. I'll show it as we go forward in the subsequent set of lessons. So as soon as that inquiry is saved, you get an inquiry number in the system that SAP generates. It's, let's say, 11010120. Just a number, a sequential number. The next one is going to be 121, next one is going to be 122, so on and so forth. If you are wondering why this number, I'll give you an example. When you call up customer service of a company and place a request, hey, you know what, I need a repair to be performed on my machine, or my Comcast router is not working. What are you going to get? You're going to get a service request number, right? They'll ask you to make a note of it and ask you to refer to that number in all future conversation with them. So from the Comcast, the company's perspective, that unique number, the service request number, is going to be the reference for all communication that happens between you and Comcast with respect to that problem, the router not working problem. Same thing here. HP has created this unique reference called an inquiry document, and this will be sent over to Walmart as a response to their inquiry, saying, you know what, thank you Walmart for inquiring with us. We have created an inquiry. Your reference number is 110120, and here are the products that you have inquired for, and these are the prices, and we can provide these quantities by so and so dates, etc., etc. That's an inquiry. Alright, so let's quickly summarize what we have learned in this lesson. We have seen that SAP works well for B2B scenarios, and that's what SAP is built for. We have seen that every department has some kind of a cycle. So the sales order cycle, or the purchase order cycle, or the financial cycle, and we started to explore the sales order cycle. That's number 2. Number 3, we have decided to understand the sales order cycle with an example, and we have taken HP or Dell or any of these computer manufacturers as the seller and Walmart as the buyer or customer, and we started to understand the interactions that happen between the seller and the buyer in a typical sales scenario. The first interaction that we have started with, that was point number 3, and the point number 4, the first interaction that we started with is an RFI. What is an RFI? What are the contents of an RFI? How is an RFI created in the system from a seller's perspective, implementing SAP, and how they respond back to the customer. So that was the process of inquiry, INQUIRY. In the next lesson, we're going to talk about the next step, which is the quotation.